and welcome to my Tarot Corner. I hope that this time the video quality will be better. I don't know what happened yesterday. I was playing with the angles of the phone, of how I put the phone. I have this tripod and probably something was pushed in the buttons. I don't know exactly what happened, but I do apologize about the quality of the video yesterday. I was really rooting for a better angle for you to see the whole table from up above. Because I did a reading that, it is a reading that hard for me to explain, but it demands for you to see the whole picture, the whole line of the cards, and this is exactly what I'm going to do today as well. I'm not going to explain each card as a standing alone card, but as they are relating to one another. And this reading is going to be a little shorter because it's only one question. It is about a rumor. It is about Frogmore Cottage. And after Frogmore Cottage lease was not renewed for the Sussexes, we all were rejoicing. We all thought, well, that's great. King Charles is showing that he has balls, that he is able to stand towards the Sussexes and everything that they are doing. He's showing them that he has the power. And although the Sussexes knew about that, or let me call them the Harkles from now on, because the Sussexes is even breaking my teeth to say. So although they knew about it from January, they did not put it out on the public domain until now. And a lot of speculation were around that, why not? And people started thinking on who was the one who put it out on the public domain. Was it the Harkles? Was it the palace? Who was it that leaked the information? There were rumors that Eugenie was the one who leaked the information on behalf of the Harkles. But who's the one to gain from all of this? And then there came out all sorts of other information that now the Harkles can sue for the £2.4 million that they paid for the renovations of the Frogmore Cottage. And apparently, even in mainstream media, it was as if it is a given that they paid that money, that it is a fact that they paid that money. But many people on social media started asking the question, did they really pay the money? Was this money, what did that money come from the Harkles' pocket? Or did King Charles actually pay the money? Or did it actually come from the sovereign grant, which means that it's a roundabout way of the public, of the British people paying for the renovation? So if it was in the beginning taken from the taxpayers' money and then it was paid back from the sovereign grant, it's like the taxpayers are repaying themselves for the same amount. So, and then it came up the rumor that it is actually a ruse, actually a scam by King Charles to allow him to give back the Harkles $2.4 million that they did not repay, as under the pretense that they did pay that money to for the renovations of Frogmore Cottage, but this 2.4 million pounds is tax-free, and this is how he can help his son, who is apparently in a bad financial status. And just looking at Meghan's latest outing and her expenditure and the money she pays for her clothing, her accessories, and how she flashes her money. And as someone said on social media, when you have old money, you are not making it you're not making it a fact, or you're not making it obvious that you have money by wearing logos and making sure that everyone knows exactly what you're wearing. But when you have new money, or when you are not accustomed to having when you're not accustomed to having designer clothing or designer bags or whatever it is, you are making sure everyone knows that you have those things by having those designer logos written all over you, so everybody will know exactly what you're wearing, so it will be out there on Meghan Mirror, so everyone will know exactly how much you paid for each and every item of your clothing and your accessories. Okay, so I'm going to look into that rumor. Was it something that was actually a scam? Was everything that connected to Frogmore Cottage, to the exile, to Frogxit, was it all a scam? Was it all King Charles' attempt to, or maybe not even attempt, was it all his way of giving his son tax-free money so he could help him get out of a very dire financial status? Because I've seen in many different tarot readings in the past that their financial situation is not so great, and we've seen that in their financial reports. Archwell is not doing so great, and when you come to think about it, you don't know where their money's coming from actually, because all of those deals that they signed, they haven't produced as much as they should have in order to get the entire sums of money that was written in those contracts. So neither Netflix nor Spotify received what they paid for, so I suppose that they did not pay the full amount. And as for Penguin Random House, well, maybe they paid the advance, or they paid the money that they, the $20 million, but remember, it was for 4 books, and nobody knows if they are going to fulfill the contract of the 4 books. And once again, the main money that comes from books is not only the advance. If the book sells, and it has to sell for a long time in order for the revenue to justify itself, and if it only sells in the first period of time, and then it goes to the garbage bin, or the price is being cut to a very, very low price, then the author actually doesn't really earn a lot of money from the book afterwards. So he gets the initial payment, but then the royalties, or the money that comes from the book in the preceding years, is not so much. And the question is Spare being really selling so much? If it was selling so much, then why would Penguin Random House make people buy a second copy of the book just to tap into Harry's therapy session with Dr. Mate. So it seems like it's not selling so good. And one of my previous reading about Harry's book did say that it's going to have an initial success, but then not so much. Okay, so I'm using the Santa MUERTE tarot. So this is going to be another Gypsy type of reading. And before I start, please take a few moments to read my full disclaimer in the description box. This is a tarot reading. It is vibrational. It is open to interpretation. It exists as assumption and speculation, and as such may or may not be true. So please do your own research and decide for yourselves. Okay, so let's clear the deck. And let's start asking. So please align the cards in the right way to answer my questions regarding Frogmore Cottage. Who paid for the renovation of Frogmore Cottage, and what is the truth behind the eviction or the termination of the Sussexes lease on Frogmore Cottage? Is it a way for King Charles to give Harry tax-free money in pretense that he is repaying him the money he paid for the renovation of Frogmore Cottage? So please align the cards to answer correctly my questions regarding Frogmore Cottage. What is the truth about Frogmore Cottage? Who really paid the money that the taxpayer paid for the renovation of Frogmore Cottage? Was the eviction notice or the notice that the Sussexes cannot prolong their lease on Frogmore Cottage a scam to allow the king to give Harry money, tax-free money, under the pretense that he's repaying him money for the renovation of Frogmore Cottage? Okay. So once again, I'm taking 7 cards. When the middle card is going to be the card that will show us the time that they left Frogmore Cottage, not the time of the eviction right now, but the time when they supposedly paid the renovation money, because I want to see who really paid that money. And then the cards later on will show us the recent events. So let me just see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I just want to make sure. Okay, so the cards were upside down, so I'm just going to flip them so I'm sure that they are not reversed without any. And let's see, so let's start. We're starting with the King of Swords, and then the 6 of Wands, and now the King of Pentacles. Now we get the Chariot, which is the time when they left. The Hermit, Queen of Cups, wow, so many court cards, and the Wheel of Fortune, wow. Nearly, well, it's almost always all major arcanas and court cards, just one minor, which makes it a very spiritual and not so to the ground, not so to the ground reading. So if we're looking from the beginning, King of Swords, that's the pacifier king, and this is the time when they got Frogmore Cottage, and the reason that the queen gave them Frogmore Cottage, and if you remember, the queen gave them Frogmore Cottage to pacify them when they were not so keen about staying in Notcott, and they wanted to leave. They wanted another place. That was their wedding gift. And the queen gave them Frogmore Cottage. They were not so keen about that. And they wanted Windsor. Frogmore Cottage was this kind of a compromise. The King of Swords is the one who is making compromises. It's the Libra King. It is someone who is pacifying. So that was a way to try to pacify them. That was what the King of Swords was, in a way trying to pacify them, and in a way trying to let them feel that they are getting what they want. They're getting this big house, they're getting this very luxurious renovations, and trying to let them feel that they are getting things that they really wanted, the very luxurious renovations. If you remember, they were talking about gold accessories in the bathrooms, and if I remember correctly, there were tennis courts and swimming pools. So there were so many things that were added to Frogmore Cottage as part of this renovation. And remember, so many people think that, and I heard people talk about it lately, that Frogmore Cottage was 5 dwellings that were became one cottage, became one dwelling. But that was before it was given to the Sussexes. That renovation was given before. And after it was given to the Sussexes, the renovation that was done beforehand was not enough. So the pacifying part of the King of Swords was, we will give you more. We will give you everything that you want. So that is Harry and Meghan going overboard. Meghan wanted more than what she saw at William and Catherine's apartment. She wanted to have more. And in a way, she felt winning. The 6 of Wands is a card of victory. So at the beginning, she felt, I won. Now remember, Wands is fire energy. It is a card of ego. And once again, both of them together, it is a card that shows that this is more about the ego. The ego side here is winning when you're putting them on the scale. And that is why both of them together are showing that Meghan felt more that she's winning. I get something that is bigger. I'm getting something that is better. This is my victory. Okay, and then comes in the money part. The King of Pentacles comes here because the money part, or the scrutiny about the money, comes just close to their leaving. And when they left, the money question came in. And this card is with its back to the 6 of Wands. So I believe that when we're looking at this card, looking at the Chariot card, and the Chariot card symbolizes their leaving. They left to get their dreams come true. The Chariot card is a card that speaks about going away, leaving, no matter what. This is about war, getting out to war. And you can see in this card, we don't see the Chariot as it is in the Rider-Waite. We see here the prominent the prominent person here is that this woman here, she is the lady, she is the most important person here. She is surrounded by these people that are, this is like the queen of this delegation, and the man is far behind. This is like Harry and Meghan and the people that are surrounding her. And this is about Meghan going out to fulfill her dreams. This is what she is going to do. This is what she is thinking about. She cares about nothing else. But then the money card is coming up. And the money question is coming up. And people are asking, okay, so what about the money? Who is going to pay the money? And the King of Pentacles, which is the father card also, the King of Pentacles represents the father. And I'm telling you many times, the King of Pentacles is the earthly representation of the emperor and the king of, so I believe that here comes the father who says, don't worry, you want to go, you go, I will pay the money. I will give the money back to the taxpayers. It will come from my pocket. Whether it came from the sovereign grant or it came from Charles's private pocket, I don't know, but it did come from the father. That is why we got the King of Pentacles here just before the leaving of Harry and Meghan. So this was part of the agreement when they left. When Harry had the talk in the Sandringham Summit, that was part of the agreement. Charles is giving that coffer of money back to the taxpayers as a refund for the Frogmore cottage renovation. It wasn't made public at right from the start because they waited, but this was made. Agreement was made right from the start. Right from the start when they left. This was not left for later on. This was not something that was left for later on, but later on when the scrutiny started, then it was allowed for the Sussexes to come out and say, yes, we are paying for it, but it was actually paid for by King Charles. Now here we get the Hermit. And the Hermit, it's a card of someone who is going all the way to a very, very secluded place in order to get to the bottom of things, to get to the truth, to find the truth. And here he's going into a coffin, which you cannot get in a more secluded than this. In the Rider-Waite, it's a person that is going into a high mountain, but here he is going into the grave. This is a person that will go into the grave in order to find the real truth of life, of whatever it is. So I believe that here, these two major arcanas, this is the king and the royal family that are getting to the bottom of things, getting to the bottom of what the Sussexes or the Harcolls are really trying to achieve, what they are really want, what they really want, and how they are mean to degrade the family, how they mean to destroy the family, but it took a long time. The hermit is a very long process. It's a process that takes a long time. It takes time to realize that you have a problem and then to go within in order to find the way to realize the problem, to go over the problem from all sorts of ways, and then to analyze the problem, and after that, just find the answers. So after they left, this introspection came. And the introspection wasn't only the King Charles's, it was also William's, it was also the Queen's. The Queen was alive then. And remember, after they left was the Oprah Winfrey interview. This was, I think, the first time when they realized that it's a war that starts, and that they need to start preparing for this war, and that that they need to start thinking of how they are dealing with this war, and start preparing all sorts of ways of plans, drawer plans that they can just take out from the drawer and implement whenever it is right. But this is what happened after they left, after the royal family realized that their currency is going to be to bash the royal family, to go after the royal family, because at the beginning when they left, it wasn't so clear. At the beginning when they left, they really thought that they are living to fulfill their dreams, to become, to start their own maybe brand that is completely, detached from the royal family, something that is completely different, something like what, for example, the CEO of Netflix the former CEO of Netflix talked about when he talked about signing the Sussexes. When he talked about he talked about them as a very creative couple, a couple that will bring a lot of innovation, a lot of new things. So this was the environment after the Harkles left. Everyone thought that they are going to start things by themselves. If you remember, the first thing that they did was a lecture with J.P. Morgan, and everyone thought that they are going to carve their own way, but nobody thought that what they are going to do is start their brand as a brand that is actually going after the royal family. And the Oprah interview was the first time, I think, that the royal family, or maybe when the royal family learned about what is going to happen in the Oprah Winfrey interview, because they weren't surprised by the Oprah Winfrey interview, but when they learned what is going on, that was when they started going into that hermit situation, when they are trying to really think about how they can manage the problem that is called the Sussexes. So that is why we get the hermit here, because this process started right after the royal family realized that the Sussexes are going to become a problem, which is not long after they left. So here comes the Queen of Cups. And the Queen of Cups, she's the adventurer. She's someone that destroys in order to rebuild. And I think that this is the description of both sides. This is the Sussexes or the Harkles that have decided to destroy everything in their way, destroy the royal family in order to build their own brand. This is how they are building their brand by destroying everything that they can in their past, but right now they realize that it's not working. That's why they insisted on titles for their children. But at that time, they decided to build their brand on the wreckage of the royal family. But this is also the royal family realizing that their only way of dealing with the Harkles is to destroy or to finish their relationship with the Harkles. Now, I think that this is something that we're not seeing yet. We will see that probably in the future, but it is there. So they do realize that. But we just pay attention to the heart. The heart here is a very big symbol here. The Queen of Cups is a very emotional queen. And I think that the heart is here because King Charles really loves Harry. He really loves Harry, and it's very hard for him to completely turn his back to him. And that is part of the problem. That is part of the problem, and that is why the hermit is with his back to the Queen of Cups. It's very hard, and remember that the Queen of Cups is the Scorpio, and King Charles is a Scorpio. It's hard for him to implement the plans that were planned when they went through the hermit stage of making plans on how to deal with the Sussexes. It's hard for him to do that. And he really loves Harry. He really cares for Harry. He's very worried about Harry. And it's hard for him to detach his loving feelings to Harry from his anger. And it's hard for him to forget the fact that Harry has done, it's hard for him to look at Harry and what he's done and look at him just as the person that he is today and forget that he's his child. So when he's looking at Harry, he remembers that that's his child, and a child that he cares for, a child that he feels that he needs to rescue in a way. And if you see here, the Queen of Cups is putting her hands like this. She's trying to ask the person that is in front of her to come to her. And this is like Charles begging Harry to come back, but to come back as his son, not as a prince, not as a working royal, but as the son that he used to know, as the person that he used to know. He wants him back as a person that is clear of drugs, as a person that is detached from Meghan. And Charles is having a very difficult time in letting Harry go. He doesn't understand or doesn't see that Harry is done with. And one of the things that today the Royal Grift did a video about the similarities between Harry and Meghan and Edward and Wallis. And when Megxit happened, the same day that Megxit happened, the Sussex Royal Instagram account was still functioning, and I sent a DM, and on the DM, I sent Harry the last interview that Edward and Wallis gave to a TV channel. And I said to Harry, look at this video and you can see yourself in a few years. And it's exactly what happened. And the Royal Grift just shows that in the similarities, it's just exactly the same. And Charles have a hard time realizing that the son that he had is no longer there. He is completely consumed by drugs. It's not Harry that he knew. It's very hard for him. He has a big heart there. He loves him very much. It's hard for him to understand. And that is why he will do whatever he can to help him, even if it means to give him the money that he needs. Even if it means to give him the money that he needs. But it doesn't say here that he does give him the money. I will take the underlying energy as well, because what the last card is telling us that we don't know what the future holds. The Wheel of Fortune is telling us that there is a change coming. The Wheel of Fortune is a card of taking your destiny in your own hands, and this is a major change, a change that completely nullifies what was before, and this is a change that starts in the inside, goes all the way to the outside, and this shows that this change is going to change King Charles. It's going to change the way the monarchy is looking at Harry and Meghan. It's going to change everything. So there is going to be a very, very major change here. Now, this change could be maybe in Charles winning and being able to retrieve Harry, but this change could very much be in the royal family doing a very clear cut, and that is why we have the sickles here, and a very clear cut from the Sussexes. And after the coronation, when it is a lot safer for King Charles to cut them out, just to cut them out. And that is why we have two sickles here, and the two sickles here are very ominous. So the Wheel of Fortune shows change, but the change is cutting someone out. So whether the cutting out will be only Meghan, whether it will be the entire Sussex family, that is a question. So let's see what the underlying energy tells us. And the underlying energy here is the Knight of Wands. Interesting. So the Knight of Wands is the aloof knight. So the Knight of Wands is a knight that is not enthusiastic. He is looking for things that will incite him, things that will ignite him. It's another egotistical knight. And it's a knight that is losing opportunities because of that. And it's from the same family of the Queen of Wands, of the King of Wands, and I see here a knight that is not being very easily back to the fold. So the victory here is not so easily attained. If we're looking at the victory here from the beginning. So the underlying energy is not very supportive of getting them back to the fold. It's more of cutting them out of the fold. But what makes me more, let's say, more optimistic is the fact that the Hermit card came right after the Chariot card, which means that during the time that the Queen was alive, there was a very long introspection, and there was an introspection, and there was a very long period of time where the royal family and the royal aides were looking at ways and making plans and looking at all the possibilities and making a lot of plans in order to deal with every possibility that will happen. So every possibility that will happen, they have a plan for it. And another thing that I am optimistic about is that I know for sure that King Charles paid that 2.4 million pounds. And up until now, we haven't heard that the Sussexes are suing. We haven't heard anything about them getting back that money, only suppositions. We have no card here about them getting back that money. The only card that can give us any kind of indication that they will get something from the king is the Queen of Cups, but it is only emotional and it's not monetarily. So I don't think that they will get the money back. And this makes me a little bit more optimistic in seeing that, at least according to this reading, it's not a scam. So this makes me a little bit more relaxed. Okay, so that is the tarot. The oracle, as usual, is for us, the MAUSOLEA, oracle of the souls, on advice for us in these turbulent times. Say the truth, my husband says that I should turn my YouTube channel into a Hebrew one and do readings about what's happening in Israel. To say the truth, I just don't feel like it. I feel like, at least with the royal family, it's a little bit of escapism, but tonight I will go to another demonstration. So let's just clear the deck. And privately, I am doing my readings for what's going on here, and it's not very optimistic. Okay, so clearing the deck once again. Advice for the public, the British public, and the public in the world. Advice for the public, the British public, and for other royal watchers in the world. Okay, Karen, the ferryman. It's about necessity, focus, and transition. You all know that Karen was the ferryman in the mythology, the one that would carry the souls over to Hades, I think, the underworld. So let me find what it says. Okay, so Karen, as we said, he's delivering his charges from one side of the river Styx to the other. He's unmoved by the pleas or petitions of the people, of the souls. And he's leaving judgment and pronouncements of the innocence or guilt to others. And he represents a necessary passage in a journey, the transition from one state of being to another, with no morals or ethical values attached to the change. This is the necessary step for good, ill, or neither. And it is felt to us to find meaning in its completion. So what this tells us is it's going very well with the Wheel of Fortune. This is a necessary stage that we have to go through. It's a necessary move, it's a necessary stage. It had to happen this way. And now we need to see how, we need to find the meaning, we need to find the way how it will complete. But it is a necessary stage that just had to happen, and we need to find the right way to focus on the right things, on the good things, and then to find the meaning in everything. So it is a card of change. It is a card of necessary change. And this is what it tells us. It's a necessary change that had to happen. And from here, it only tells us that change will go on happening. But if this change was without any actual meaning, the next changes will have a lot of meanings. So this is it for this reading. I hope you liked it, and if you did, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave me a comment, share the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.